Right, what's up everybody? Hopefully, I think that should fix the issue, but we'll see. Just let me know about the audio and we'll get started in a moment. Happy Sunday to everybody. Michelle, Henry, Lance, what's going on? Alex, Professor Dario is here. Yeah, sometimes I think it's the connection on the mic. Maybe it just gets kind of junked up with a lot of stuff, perhaps. Anyway, Tatted T, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Toasted Rye Bread, what's going on? Yeah, Trade Brigade. A fantastic watch, particularly before the market opens. Pre-market stream. Hopefully you've had a wonderful holiday weekend, which pretty much most people are going to be taking off until New Year's. Anyway, we'll go ahead and get started here in a minute, everybody. Lots of big news over the weekend. I think we've had 3 major kind of aviation horrible tragedies. One of which I think about 180 people passed away on Jeju Island. But as always, for Sunday, I want to try to go to Times Square again and check out the setup, because when I was there earlier in the day today, they finally had the main stage up for the performances for the Times Square. So we'll have to check that out. Sure, not a whole lot of action. There was a pretty good article, the cover story today in Investors Business Daily, kind of talking about the, post-election rally on the victory of President Trump. So if you want to check that out, I think it's well worth the read. Trade Brigade, what's going on? Welcome to Midtown Manhattan. We're looking at One Vanderbilt right now, but we are actually across the street from 270 Park. This is the newest Class A office tower to go up in New York, and this is going to be the headquarters of Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase. This is a massive, massive skyscraper. It takes up an entire city block, and it's right on the corner of East 47th Street and Madison Avenue. You have a pretty good view looking all the way up to 432 Park. That is the Harry Mackellow building. Anyway, we'll get started in just a moment. Yeah, I heard about that too. President Carter passed away today. 100 years old. But you know what? I mean, even though it's always said when people pass away, but I mean, guys, 100 years old, that's a blessing. I mean, not many people make it to 100 years old. So hopefully we'll make it at least 75% of the way. Please God willing. But 100 years old, it's, you've lived a good life. I think that's a pretty big blessing. This is the Roosevelt Hotel here. This is one of the largest migrant intake centers in New York City. That's located on the corner of East 46th Street. Anyway, we'll get started. We'll just do the quick audio and visual check. We did have some issues with the audio earlier, so if you guys can hear us, and if we're streaming in 1080p, just go ahead and leave a thumbs up in the chat, and we'll get started in a moment. Wow, look at the line outside of the migrant center. Sunflower says it's buffering a lot, going in and out. Yeah, we're probably going to have that a lot today. Bark, what's going on? Troy Atman says the audio is choppy, it's in and out. I think it's just going to be internet issues just from the city is so packed. There's probably going to be a lot of congestion, but so it looks like we're having new people check in at the Roosevelt Hotel right now. JT says, are they waiting for a room? More than likely, probably they're waiting for a room. It's kind of sad. I mean, the whole migrant crisis in the city is just a real big mess. The thing that's really sad is that, you'll see little kids, like toddlers running around at all hours of the day. I mean, sometimes I walk back to Grand Central Station at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'll just have these little kids. I mean, 3, 4 years old, toddlers and strollers, just out at all hours of the night. It's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Well, anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Walks in Wall Street. Today is the last Sunday of the year, the last Sunday of 2024 before we venture into 2025. It's probably going to be, a pretty muted week with the New Year and then obviously New Year's Eve and then New Year's Day. So, not a whole lot to worry about there. I always say it's usually the second week of the new year when everybody's kind of back in and doing their thing. So I think you're probably going to see I would advise don't make any major movements in the market or any major adjustments to your portfolio, because if you do, it's probably going to be an illiquid market and you could probably have a lot of volatile movements. If you're trading in big size, or even if some funds are trading and the market is rather illiquid, well, guess what happens? There's major market movements to the downside or the upside. So I would say wait till the kind of the second week to settle in and kind of get back to normal. Now, also, kind of what could happen after these really amazing years we've had. This is going to be the second year. We'll have 20% plus returns in the S&P 500. A lot of times, this first or the second week of the new year, you'll have, big money managers and the like ringing the register on some of those gains to kick the taxes out in additional April. So to pay that tax bill in April of 2026 as opposed to April of 2025. So tonight's going to, kind of be pretty light on the financial topics. I'm really just curious to see how the audio-visual setup is going on in Times Square, because if I had to make a prediction, I think this is going to be the single most crowded New Year's Eve in Times Square history, based upon just what I've been seeing here for the holidays. So I think the city is going to be absolutely on fire. The city is going to be crazy for New Year's Eve, and I'm pretty excited to see it. New England crypto, what's going on? Cheers to you. You were just checking out 270 Park and the Roosevelt Hotel, which is one of the largest migrant intake centers. Top Cat, cheers. Larry Adams and the like. Good to see everybody. We'll go down to 42nd Street and we'll make a right. and we'll head into the belly of the beast. Now, if we were to make a left, that's an interesting construction project that's going on right next to the Chrysler building that is the old Pfizer headquarters in Manhattan. It was the Pfizer world headquarters in New York City. It stretches almost an entire city block. That's going to be repurposed now into apartments. It's going to be the largest office to apartment conversion, not only in New York City's history, but in the entire history of the United States of America, only to dethrone Harry Macklowe's One Wall Street that sits right at the end of Wall Street, across the street from Trinity Church and the New York Stock Exchange. Maybe we'll actually take a quick peek at that, because that's going to be massive. That is a huge construction project. Much of that is going to be affordable housing. John Burke, what's going on? Sally, Reggie 44 says Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. I think it's going to be a monster year. 2025 is going to be a great year. Lots of opportunity out there. Lots of changes. So I'm excited. Joey says, what's up, Tom? Happy holidays. Right back at ya. It's pretty warm in New York City, but it's windy. Crazy windy. Now, once we bang this left on 43rd Street, this is one of my favorite views in New York City, in Midtown East. You see Grand Central Station, and then you have this unobstructed view of the Chrysler building right here. Mondays, it's crazy how many apartments/condos continue to be built, and there's still such a market for a high cost. New York is a different beast. Well, here's the issue. A lot of the regulation that is put in place in New York City to promote affordable housing and to help housing become more affordable actually works the exact opposite. The only way developers can really make any money is to make ultra luxury. So, but I mean, we could have like a 4-hour conversation about that. But yeah, I mean, since we're here, we might as well take a look at it. We haven't been by it in quite some time. You know, I think there's over 100,000 units in New York City that sit absolutely vacant. There's nobody in them. Now, the problem with that is there's a lot of rent stabilization and there's a lot of rent control. So if somebody moves out of a rent stabilized unit, the landlord cannot bring the rent up to a market rent. So a lot of these units are in disrepair and they need renovation. So they're not going to invest the money to get the unit rent ready if they can't turn a profit on it. So what we have are thousands upon thousands of apartments that just sit off market with nobody living in them. So, you know, rent stabilization and rent controls may be lucky for one person if they stay in there and abuse it forever, but once they leave, if the apartments need repairs, well, guess what? The apartments are never going to get the repairs, and the landlords aren't going to invest the money to fix it up. It's just not going to happen. Kennedy says, but would it be fair to say the rents fell somewhat during the pandemic? It would not be fair to say that. They fell more. The rents didn't fall somewhat. They absolutely fell apart and cratered during the pandemic. You had like a 50% haircuts across the board. I got a really, really nice apartment on Central Park South for 50% off during the pandemic. The pandemic there was a mini flash crash in New York City real estate during the pandemic. I mean, look at some of the really high-end trophy apartments. Some people got that stuff for 50% off. I think that Robert Herjavec, the Shark, scored a really, really nice deal for like 50% off at $157, and he flipped it for like $10 million more than what he paid for it. Mainly because some people were so freaked out about this pandemic. They thought the world was going to end. They thought cities were going to turn into ruin. And yeah, that is true. We had a mini flash crash in New York during the pandemic. And then, we had that big V bottom, just like equities, right? You had that crazy flash crash in the S&P 500, circuit breakers, limit down almost every day. It was wild. And then you had that V-shaped recovery, almost like a lockout rally, right? I mean, the NASDAQ 100 followed the 10-day moving average all the way up. It did not cut below the 10-day moving average until it broke through record highs. And that's usually how markets bottom, by the way, right? Markets, tend to have these really violent V-shaped bottoms and these lockout rallies. So everybody is like, oh, I'll buy on the pullback. I'll buy on the first pullback. The stocks are too high right now. I'll buy on the pullback. And the pullback never comes. It's called a lockout rally.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Brad? Good to see you. Well, that's right. It is Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah for those of you who celebrate. This is going to be a big construction project here, too. This is the Grand Hyatt. This, I believe, is going to be torn down entirely. And there's going to be a brand new building that's going to cover the views of the Chrysler Building. Me says, what's up, Tom? Good to see you, me. Yeah, Monday I agree. Says that's crazy that there's many empty units throughout the city. Feels like something has to change regarding allowing owners to get back up to fair market rent. Yeah, I mean, the only thing that needs to change is just don't let the don't let anything hold on, we'll let these guys pass here. Anyway, the only thing that needs to change is just have the government get out of the way, right? If you don't interfere with the free market will self-regulate, right? Supply and demand. I mean, imagine if there was 100,000 more rentals on the market, that would satiate a lot of that demand and you would have rents come down. But when you cap or essentially don't allow landlords to rent for market rent, well, if I can only rent a unit for $1,000 a month and it's going to cost me $60,000 to renovate that unit to get it rent ready, well, guess what? I'm not going to invest the $60,000 to get it rent ready. I'm just going to let it sit, turn the gas off, turn the heat off, and just sit on it. But right here on 3rd Avenue, you guys could actually see it in all the scaffolding here. This is going to be the largest office to apartment conversion in U.S. history. Once again, this is the Pfizer, the former Pfizer headquarters. They're now at the Hudson Yards. Harry Connor says, my rent increased. Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm just going to try not to step in the vomit here. To be fair, rents are coming down and rents are cooling, particularly in a lot of the major cities that were the boom cities during the pandemic and after. Like rents in Miami, Austin, Texas, they're coming down, they're cooling. Rents have already come down substantially in San Francisco. Prices have already come down substantially in some of those big cities. So it is what it is. I've already said I think there's a lot of big opportunities in San Fran right now to buy something. But I mean, what about you guys? What about wherever you live? Has rents come down or prices of homes come down at all? Alex411 says, my brother sold my boyhood home, the house I grew up in, and the people who bought it painted it brown and purple. I am appalled. I wonder if that'll affect the value. We'll see. NJ17 says the tech bros versus the MAGA drama on X is hilarious. Yeah, we briefly talked about that yesterday. Well, not briefly, we kind of covered that at length. I think there's just a lot of people out there that are just unfamiliar with the visa system, and they really don't understand particularly what an H-1B visa is. I think there's a lot of misinformation going around there. If you want to kind of know my thoughts, you could just rewatch the first part of the last stream, but the H-1B visa fake outrage is pretty much a non-issue. People are claiming that, H-1Bs are taking American jobs and they're paying them slave wages, corporations, when that's not true. $1,500. So I think there's just a lot of people that are not familiar, fake outrage, which is par for the course. Ben Carson says the rents seems to have gone up and down. Is that right? Trade brigades are stable in the southeast New England area. Not as versed in the DC market to make a determination. DC market's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen with the new administration. I saw that Howard Lutnick just bought a pretty big house in DC. Anyway, guys, here it is. Check this out. You can kind of see it says Pfizer here. Scaffolding all over the place. This is going to be the largest office to apartment conversion in the city's history. You can kind of see everything's already being cored out, hollowed out. It's pretty cool to see it. The only thing, I'm just not a big fan of the facade. Maybe there'll be changes to the facade, but at the end of the day, I mean, people just need a place to live, I guess. Not really that big of a deal. Let's try to cross and see if we can get a view from the opposite side of the street. Oscar says, hey Tom, rents in Chicago seem to increase every day. Interesting. All right, guys, here is a view from the opposite side of the street. This is a half of a city block. This thing is tremendous. And predominantly, this is going to be affordable, air quotes, housing. I know, NJ says mid-century modern office building aesthetic. If you look at a lot of the conversion projects in Lower Manhattan, like 95 Wall Street, really all up and down Water Street, most of them are rentals, but some of them are condo sales. You can really tell that at one point those were offices. So it just doesn't really have that homey vibe. So for rentals, I mean, all day, every day, it's fantastic. But would I want to invest money in there, like tie up cash to buy like a conversion project? I would say most likely not. Now, I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but the Trump Tower that is at 1 Central Park West, that is the Trump International Hotel and Tower that has the Jean Georges, it has the hotel, and it has the residences. That was a conversion as well. That used to be offices as well. The floor plans are very, very boxy, but the views are pretty incredible there. But some of the ones in Lower Manhattan, around Water Street, all up and down Wall Street, the lion's share of those are conversions, and you can really, really tell that you're kind of just living in office. I don't know. Renting, I think it's fantastic. The more supply on the market, the better, particularly here in Manhattan, because everything is so unbelievably expensive. I think the only solution to our affordability crisis on the buy side and the rent side is just more supply, right? It's basic supply and demand. Palm trees. The Trump building was taken apart except for the iron. Otherwise, zoning rules would ban a new building the same height. There's also that, why am I blanking on the name of the building? I forget the address, but it is the Trump, come on, what is it? It's on the east side. Maybe you can help me out, Palm Tree. It is the Trump World Tower, the United Nations. That is very similar. I'm not sure if you've ever been in there, but the inside of the Trump United Nations Plaza is very, very similar to 1 Central Park West, like extremely similar. Black ribbons as the conversions are freaking me out. I've worked in most of those places. Oh my gosh. I like the overall idea. Here's an interesting view of the Chrysler building. Look at that. NBA Elias, what's going on? Cheers. Doc Sevens is 40 Wall Street 2. There was a big Dwayne Reed in there that I used to go to sometimes, and now it's completely vacant. That Dwayne Reed used to get shoplifted like crazy. Now, another conversion, which I don't think this is going to be condos. I think this just may be a better office building. Maybe somebody could Google it. I should know this, but I forget. It's the old Deutsche Bank on Wall Street, 60 Wall. They're completely redoing that. But I think it's going to be, I don't know. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but they are, obviously Deutsche Bank has now moved uptown to Columbus Circle. Brad's brain says, I just want a condo in the Flatiron building. Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. Now, the floor plans on the Flatiron building, I'm very, very curious to see. Just because I feel as if they'd be a little bit awkward. They're probably going to try their best. But, yeah, the people that are going to buy in the Flatiron building, in my view, I could be wrong, I'm just guessing, but are probably just very wealthy foreign investors that are just going to buy it to say, hey, I have a unit in the Flatiron building in New York City. Now, here's the bummer. Now that we're looking at Grand Central Station, which looks beautiful, and 1 Vanderbilt. If you go right outside the Flatiron building, okay, right on 23rd Street and Broadway, it used to be the best view of the Empire State Building, like the best view of the Empire State Building. Now it is totally covered by that new development that's going up on 29th Street, I believe. So I wonder how the views are going to be in the Flatiron building. Maybe they'll be totally obstructed by that building too. Joseph Hardaway's Situation Rooms is the Grand Central Hotel. Is dark. Yeah, they have these blackout windows. This is the Hyatt, the Grand Hyatt. And I believe this building is also going to come down too. And in its place is going to be a super tall, I think. And a lot of people have been upset about it because it's going to block out the view of the Chrysler building. Wow, look at how beautiful this entryway is. So you can just walk past things and you don't get a chance to appreciate its beauty. All right, let's head towards Times Square. RPT says, any final year-end closings this week? No, all the closings are now going to be in 2025. We are officially done, closed out the year for 2024, which is pretty wild. But I'm very excited, very optimistic for 2025. This is Pershing Square. I always think of Bill Ackman's Pershing Square. Hey Keith, this is Tom. My stepson moved out of Manhattan a year ago to Long Island City. Best views from an apartment he has ever had. Wow. Yeah, I mean, to Keith's point, Long Island City, I mean, talk about another neighborhood that's been totally gentrified and completely redone. Long Island City is now very expensive. There's a lot of luxury apartments there now, and with amazing views of the city. Like stunning views of the Manhattan skyline. Dimension says, do I trade crypto? Not usually, honestly. I mean, I own Bitcoin. But if you're talking about any of the altcoins, I don't. I actually do not. That's also true. R.I.P. Jimmy Carter. 100 years old. You know, I mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast, but you know, if you're lucky enough to make it to 100 years old, very few people to make it to 100. Now, my comment on, you know, crypto, the altcoins, things like that. You know, I've been around the space since late 2016. So I've seen a significant amount of cycles here. And every single cycle is the same. You know, you'll have the newcomers come in. You know, they get the shiny object syndrome. They see a lot of people, you know, air quotes here, you know, making a lot of money and getting rich trading the altcoins, which they're not, by the way. I'll explain that later. Then they try it, you know, they deposit $5,000, you know, they buy some random coin, it balloons to $250,000. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to be rich. And then they continue to do it just to say, you know, I'm just going to try to make as much money as possible, then convert it back into Bitcoin and get as much Bitcoin as possible. But then what happens, the cycle ends and all the quote-unquote altcoins that they're trading goes to zero, and then they throw a fit and say, this sucks, this is a scam. So I don't really get involved in any of that altcoin nonsense. I've just been buying and accumulating, Bitcoin, but I mean, if you can do it, by all means. But I would be what you would call a Bitcoin maxi, maybe. Is that would be the appropriate turn of phrase? It's a really windy night. I'm not too sure if you guys could tell, but the wind just kind of picked up out of nowhere, and there's so much garbage and like so much trash all over the ground. I'm not sure if you noticed, but it's like blowing it right up into my face. It's really disgusting. Now this is the Stephen Schwarzman building. Stephen Schwarzman is one of the OGs on Wall Street and private equity. You might think of Blackstone, which they just recently acquired Jersey Mike's. Jamie Rooster says, "What is your IQ?" I have no idea. I've never taken an IQ test. But probably not that high, to be quite honest, because I'm not a good test taker. David says, "So you think Warren Buffett is wrong about Bitcoin?" I do, yeah. Warren Buffett's a value investor. You know, there's this kind of correlation, causation kind of ish argument. It's the same thing like a lot of people, you know, everyone thinks, and they'll make videos on YouTube and say, the next market crash is going to be way worse than 2008. You know, I'm calling it now. And they're like perpetual doomers, you know, just because they watched The Big Short one time and they think that they're Michael Burry now. On Wall Street, the way you make money is not by quote-unquote being right. Some of the best investors out there are incorrect the majority of the time. It's just when they have bets on that are right, they have crazy concentration and crazy amount of size. So when those bets pay off, they pay off, to use, I guess, a Donald Trump saying, bigly. And it's all about risk management, right? So they let their winners ride, and their losers, you know, they just blow it out. They cut the position and they blow it out. So it's very, you know, a lot of people will read these articles, you know, the guy who called the top of the 2008 financial crisis is now calling this next, right? Or the person who called the bottom on Tesla is now calling this stock next, right? And people kind of take it at face value. It's, what is the, there's a term for it in psychology. It's like social proofing. I believe that's what it's called, social proofing. So, you know, you could write 1 billion books about, hey, I called this stock. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be right about something in the future. You know, and if you listen to a lot of Paul Tudor Jones, Stan Druckenmiller interviews, you know, they all say the same thing, and these are the greatest traders of all time. You know, don't focus so much on trying to be right or wrong. Focus on trying to set up as many asymmetric bets as possible and take as many of those asymmetric bets every single year, right? So you may not be right. You may be wrong on the vast majority of your positions throughout the year, right? But you want to set up the risk-reward profile to where your payoff, if you're right, is going to be exponentially higher than your loss if you're wrong, right? And you want to give yourself a lot of at-bats to that, right? So particularly this conversation comes up a lot when talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Famously Peter Schiff of Europac, which I happen to like Peter Schiff a lot. They have these debates for years, going on 10 years. Is Bitcoin a scam? Is Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme? Is it going to go to zero? And Peter Schiff will venomously
packed over there. Or whatever, it don't matter. Just walk through there and go to the
and Peter Schiff will, go crazy about, arguing, Bitcoin's this, Bitcoin is that. But that's really just kind of wasted time. Do your own research into it. If you see value, then get an allocation. If you don't see value, then don't get an allocation. I mean, there's a multi-trillion-dollar economy out there. You don't kind of have to be fixated on one thing or the other. If you have time, maybe if some of you are, taking off until the new year, you have to watch all of those fireside chats at the Robinhood conference, the JP Morgan Robinhood conference. So if you just go pull up another window, you could type in Paul Tudor Jones, Stan Druckenmiller, Robinhood conference, and there's 3 or 4 of these conversations about an hour long, and all of them kind of reminisce on their investing career with similar stories to that, right? I guess kind of giving advice to younger investors. So don't, if you have conviction in something and you think you're right, have that conviction and bet big. But if the trade starts to go against you and you're wrong, don't have a monster ego to say, no, the market is wrong and I'm right. I'm going to continue this position. Blow the position out, move on to something else. It's definitely an interesting conversation from a psychological standpoint, for sure. Anyway, let me go ahead and catch up on some of the comments. Patrol says people have been like, oh my God, the US dollar will lose reserve currency status for my entire life. Yeah, that's another major grift, right? That's another thing that is just ridiculous, because if you look at global transactions for this year, actually, global transactions denominated in dollars have yet again hit a brand new all-time record high, and we've been having significant dollar strength. If you look at the Dixie, DXY, the Dixie is incredibly strong right now. If you look at a basket of other currencies, or the currency pairs to the US dollar, pretty much the lion's share of them are hitting new lows against the dollar. I mean, look at the Korean won, look at the Indian rupee, look at the CAD, the Canadian dollar is getting shellacked, right? The Russian ruble. So be very, very careful, right? And there's a really good book that's written by Scott Adams. It's all about persuasion. Every time you watch a video, every time you read a book, every time you watch a documentary, you're watching persuasion, right? So it sounds really good. And even me, right? Even if you listen to some of the things I say, I can be a bit persuasive. I mean, I do have a sales background. But just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's right. So you should have an objective view on things, collect as much data as possible, and then kind of formulate your own opinions and conclusions. And there's a lot of, very big name, analysts out there, even YouTube channels that kind of, just put out fear porn. But if you've listened to that over the past 2 years, you would have missed this monster rally in U.S. equities. I mean, some of these stocks have gone up hundreds and hundreds of %. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of my favorite conversations to have. Just because, don't conflate persuasion with expertise. Even with me, right? Sometimes I'll, hammer on a topic, lay out a thesis, and it'll sound really compelling. Well, of course, it's because I believe it. But it may be wrong. I may be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. And if you've been watching the broadcast over the last 2 years. I've been wrong about a lot of stuff. Some things I'm bang on about, but there's a lot of stuff that I've eaten my words definitely a few times, more than a few times. Trade brigades is the easiest way to quote-unquote time the market, is to just watch the SPX weekly trend. If it's up, no need to panic, no matter how much they say it can't possibly go any higher. Yeah, that's true. That is definitely true. I mean, to Trade Brigade's point, if you're in like a sales and trading position on the street, and you're like a prop trader trading the bank's money, the risk on, what's considered like risk on and gain exposure to the market is if the S&P is above the 200-day moving average. So it's kind of like a green light. But and you can kind of see this in real time. A really good example of this was right during the COVID crash. When the S&P broke below the 200-day, it was just like a shellacking waterfall. That's because a lot of the algos on the street are kind of programmed, below the 200-day moving average for the S&P 500, sell stock, raise capital, right? Just raise cash. And if it's above, once it breaks above, start deploying slowly, gradually deploying capital again. I think one of you guys sent me this interesting article. And it was about like the average person, right? What do they usually make more money in? Do they usually make more money in the market, like actively trading the market, or do they make more money on their primary residence? And it was a really interesting piece of data. And the conclusion was that most people make more money on their primary residence due to the liquidity issue. Now, what does that mean? Well, if the market, has a little bit of a tizzy and, the S&P 500's down 15%, you're reading all these headlines, it's going to go down 80%, it's the end of the US, there's never going to be any GDP growth ever again. Well, you could just literally pick up your phone, log on to your Robinhood account or your Charles Schwab account and liquidate everything you have in 30 seconds, in less than 30 seconds. You can't do that with your house, right? You can't, log on to your phone and hit the panic sell button on your house. I think this was a Harvard Business School study. Somebody in the audience actually sent it to me. So they say most people actually do better on their primary residence because it's harder for them to panic sell out of it. Which I guess it makes sense, right? Twisted spines, as it means they're forced to hold the house. Yeah, or it's that liquidity issue. That's kind of why, in a major downturn, stocks are usually leading, right? So the way I was taught, and my old boss told me this, who's been a really good mentor to mine, he's like, asset prices will tend to correct in order of liquidity. So equities are very, very liquid. Those will get repriced accordingly to either a higher interest rate environment or to adjusted, forward guidance on their earnings. Equities tend to reprice a lot faster because they're liquid. Real estate, it's more of a slower bleed, so to speak, because it's not as a liquid market. So I've written that down and posted it on my desk. Asset prices tend to correct in order of liquidity. All right, should we make a run at Times Square? What do you guys think? I've been kind of waiting for some of the tourist crowd to die down. But if you look in the distance, all the way up there, you'll see a bright, glowing green ball. That is the ball that is going to be dropped on New Year's Eve. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. Yeah, Kevin, I saw that. Safat, according to him, Safat told me that this is going to be the last year that this ball is dropped, and then it's going to go into a museum somewhere. I never knew that. That's actually really cool. So in 2026, they're going to do something else, I guess, besides that crystal ball. Maybe they're going to engineer something more modern. I never knew that. It's pretty interesting. And I think he said the museum is going to be on top of One Times Square. I have to go back and look what he said, but I never knew that. So apparently this is going to be the last time that this ball is dropped on New Year's Eve. If you look close enough, you could see all of this kind of like confetti and garbage flying around in the air. It's that windy. Mr. Dad says there's nothing that can replace the crystals and the beauty and the craftsmanship. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I have no idea what they're going to do. Maybe it's just going to be a modern, like something more modern, I guess. I have no idea. I just found out about this today. Hello, mate. 2008 says, hey, Tom. Only 2 more days in 2024. Hello from upstate New York. Man, crazy. 2 more days of 2024. But look, it's been a good year. I think I've learned a lot this year. And hopefully, and I'm confident 2025 is going to be even better than 2024. Wow, check out the H&M building tonight. So there's the ball. And here's H&M. I know, Twisted Spines says election years are my least favorite years. Looking forward to hearing about it less. For sure. I mean, 2024, it definitely has been brutal as it relates to the political. I feel for all of you who have lived in a swing state throughout this election year. It must have been nothing but election ads on TV. But that's a really good point. Thank God the election's over. It's in the rearview mirror, so we could stop hearing about politics all the time. Oh, look at this. This is a brand new location. I never knew this was here. Rosetta Italian Bakery. I'm not sure if Professor Dario is still in the audience, but this bakery is that spot that you went to right across the street from Lincoln Center. So this is just another location, but this is a good spot. This is my first time seeing it. I'm trying to remember what was here before this. You know what? I don't think anything was here before this. I think this was always vacant. They were always looking for a tenant. Anyway, it looks like they're doing good. You know, kind of transitioning back to New York City real estate. Retail is really making a major comeback in Manhattan after the pandemic. Obviously, it's been just absolutely brutal to kind of fill some of that vacancy in these retail storefronts. But we've seen a major uptick in lease signings, which is really good, which is kind of like a show of confidence that people will return to the office and people will return back to the city, right? You can kind of use it as a leading indicator, because if you start to see, like for example, this Rosetta, if you start to see a lot of new net lease signings, that's a leading indicator that people are more optimistic on the local economy here in New York for return to office, for people, you know, even moving back here. there was a lot of flight out to the Hamptons, out to New Jersey, out to the suburbs, and you're starting to see a lot of people kind of come back to the city, which is good. I think 2025 will be deemed the year of the return to the office or return to work, which may be a little bit of a bummer for some of you, but it is positive for the local businesses in Manhattan, like the small mom and pop bodegas. If there was no return to office, they would totally be out of business for sure. I mean, you would have no, local coffee shops. You would have nothing. I mean, people need to be back in the office. There's a lot of businesses that really, really depend on office workers, to be honest. Hey, Mark says a new ball is planned for next year. Michael Phillips of the company that owns One Times Square said the new ball will be a completely different design. Wow. Well, now I'm looking forward to 2026. We'll see. A completely different design. Like, how much more could they redesign it? Right, it's just a ball. We'll see. Mr. Dad says, I wonder what the monthly rent is. For that place, I don't know, maybe $40,000 a month. I mean, it is on 42nd, right across the street from the Bank of America Tower. That's prime real estate. I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd guess $40,000 a month, maybe a little more. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. All right, maybe we will cross over to 8th Avenue, and then we'll go around and see the stage. But this building that we're looking at right here, this is where the ball is going to be dropped on New Year's Eve. Actually, I want to do one pass by Joe's. The line is probably going to be 2 miles long. If we go down to 40th Street and make a right, we'll probably avoid the lion's share of the traffic, or at least the foot traffic. Wow, check out Joe's. Now for fun, what do you think the daily revenue will be today at Joe's Pizza? What do you think? I mean, if the line is all the way kind of wrapped around the block now, think about this for 24 hours in the day. You can kind of see all the pizza boxes here. Mark's is 74K. I think that may be a little bit of an underestimation, perhaps. You never know. You know, it's funny. I was just at Joe's in Wynwood in Miami, Florida. They opened up a location there. Now, it's funny because you could just go to the Joe's on Fulton Street and there's no line. But I understand that, this is the one that's in Times Square, so a lot of people want to go to it. I get it, but I mean, look at the line here. Let's try to do some quick mental math here. Let's try to guesstimate how many people are in this line. Let's say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100. Let's just say there's 100 people in this line, right? And let's say the average ticket price is going to be $15. So times that by how many times do you think this line goes through to completion throughout the day? Well, that, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 10, 10. I think you're looking maybe at 100,000 actually. I mean, for a full 24-hour day. I mean, if it's this packed. Maybe less. Philip Hook says Prince Pizza is the best pizza shop in Soho. Yeah, Prince Street Pizza is really good. Matthew says, is it worth the wait? It's definitely not worth the wait, but I get why people wait for it. Right? It's very, famous, I guess. There's a place called Made in New York Pizza that I think has really good pizza here. But Joe's, there's also one at Fulton Street looking right at the World Trade Center. And that place very, very seldom has at least a line like of that size. There is one pizza shop that I don't like that everybody loves here. It's called Artichoke Pizza. I'm just not a big fan of it at all. If anything, I actually don't like the pizza there. But I guess to each its own. Hey, what's up, Ben? Says, have I ever been to Hamburger America in New York City? I have not. Where is that? Hamburger America. All right. So let's try to go uptown. And I'll try to get you a view of the main stage where all of the performers are going to be doing their thing on New Year's Eve. This is the Margaritaville Hotel. Very seldom do we venture into Times Square, but for New Year's Eve, I mean, it's once a year. I kind of like to check everything out on the outskirts. Alicia says Chicago has better pizza, and I'm a New Yorker. Yeah, I guess it's all about preference, right? I'm just not a big fan of like a deep dish pizza because it feels like I'm eating lasagna. It doesn't even feel like I'm eating pizza, but I definitely understand what you're saying. But I like very, very thin crust New York pizza. Chicago, I wouldn't even really classify it as pizza. It's very good, but it's not, to me, it's not like pizza. You know what I mean? It's almost like a lasagna, which is fantastic. But, I mean, if I'm on the go, right, and I just need to get like a quick bite to eat, I mean, it's going to take me 2 hours to eat a Chicago deep dish pizza. Now, I'm being a little bit facetious, right? In like 5-10 minutes. Now, you know what I did have the other day, by the way? There was a Detroit-style pizza spot that opened up in New York City here, and I actually really, really liked it. So Detroit-style pizza, which is almost, it's kind of like a Sicilian slice, but it's like very crispy. So I liked it. Gonna be honest with you, I really like the Detroit style pizza. I wish I remembered the name of the spot that I went to. Everything in Miami says Hamburger America is 155 West Houston Street. Let me take a screenshot of that. Good to see you, everything in Miami. Alicia says, yeah, I heard about Detroit pizza. We'll have to check it out. It's good. I didn't think it was going to be good. I walked in the spot. Oh, I remember where it is now. I'll tell you exactly where it is. It's inside 30 Rockefeller Center. And it's right next to, I think, Grumptown Coffee or Grumpy Town Coffee, something like that. It's like a retro kind of 70s, 1970s vibe pizza place, but it's Detroit style, and it's really, really good. So try to Google that. I don't know if that helps, but it's in Rockefeller Center, Detroit style pizza, and the interior is very cool. Very, very cool. It's like you're walking into an old-time pizza spot, like when you were a little kid. Israel Morales says the best tacos are in Mexico City. There's really good tacos and Mexican food here too. I'll quickly give you guys another recommendation. It's called Burrito Box. Really, really good, fantastic Mexican food. Right near John Jay College of Criminal Justice. It's called Burrito Box, which is funny because we were just talking about the Flame Diner. And it's right next to the Flame Diner. All right, so this is West 42nd Street and 7th Avenue. We'll see if the internet holds up here. Professor Darios is near the Flame. Yeah, it's literally right next door, and it's very good. It's this hole-in-the-wall place, fantastic Mexican food, and it's not. The prices aren't that bad either. It's affordable. That's the best Mexican food I've had in New York City. All right, just building up a little bit of mental fortitude here, and then we are going to be headed right into the main stage here. Stoney's shout out from Park Slope, Brooklyn. I used to coach soccer back in the day, right near Park Slope in Prospect Park. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. Wow, look at this. It's almost as if there's so many people in Times Square, they've closed down the street because the people are spilling over from the sidewalk. Now, I think I've said that before. I think the city should close down Broadway a few days leading up into New Year's just because there's so many people and there really shouldn't be any cars here. It just makes it way too dangerous, I think. But this is West 43rd Street and 7th Avenue. This is the Armed Forces Recruiting Center and the Hard Rock. So right up there is where they're going to drop the ball. How many people would you estimate are in Times Square right now? What would you say? Would you say over 50,000 people are probably in Times Square right now? And I would classify that from 30, maybe 39th Street. I'll classify that. 39th Street all the way up to 50th Street we'll classify. Bobby Beast is at least 70. NBA Elias is 75,000. I mean, it's got to be 50. I mean, there's a lot of people here. To everybody celebrating. So here you can see some of the sound equipment. This is new from yesterday. Oh, you can see one of the cameras. You see that? Look at that. Right up there. Very cool. They're probably testing out those big boom rigs to get those cool panoramic shots. KM Ramsey, cheers. All right, now let's kind of navigate to the other one, because they finally have all of the Planet Fitness 2025 logos up. I was checking it out earlier today, but there was just so many people that I didn't really get a chance to take a good look at it. I mean, if you think it's crowded now in Times Square, I mean, earlier today was just insane. But the other one that we're going to go to has all of the main stuff. We'll check out the behind the scenes action here. Let me zoom up to the stage. Hey, Western Mass Dave, what's up? Happy New Year. We're just checking out the behind the scenes action here, as we do every year. All right, let's try to... So this is where we're going to go. All the way in the distance, we got to cross 45th Street. And if you look closely, you can see the Planet Fitness. It says New Year's Eve, Times Square 2025. That's where we're going to go, so strap in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Perhaps a little bit more bumpy for me than you guys, but... Wow, this is really, really tight squeeze here. Matthew says, watch out for pickpockets. I really don't own anything, to be honest. I don't even have a wallet to pickpocket. But it is true, there are a lot of pickpockets out. But I can tell who's kind of a sketchball and who's not very easily. Yeah, it looks like the crowd is thinning out a little bit because earlier today, I mean, this entire section you couldn't even walk through. It was just like standing room only. Right, here we are, everybody. 45th Street. So what we're coming up on now is the main stage for the performances. I believe like the musical guests and musical performances and things like that is going to be right there. I mean, I could see it clearly here. I'm not sure if you could see it on the live stream, but right in front of you it should say New Year's Eve, Times Square 2025. It's a lot of churros. I think we should be able to find a gap here. All right, we made it. Here we are. So this is going to be the main stage. Just have to pull off to the side here for a moment. And I'll zoom in on the ball. So there it is, 2025. Oh, look at it. Those cameras alone probably cost like $20,000. It's kind of cool to see it floating around in that big rig up there. All right, once this crowd goes through, we'll walk directly up to the main stage. I think my microphone does a good job of kind of blocking out a lot of the noise, but it's so noisy here, like my ears are ringing. Like that's how loud it is. All right, this is a cool shot. Let's see. What's up, Tom? Good to see you. So here we have the main stage and all the audio-visual trucks. What do you think? See, it's much more enjoyable kind of coming to Times Square before New Year's Eve, like a day or two before, just because you can kind of see all the behind-the-scenes action. Oh, they finally turned the ball on, so you can see it. If you look closely, right above that Kia sign, you'll see it. I think the internet is a little bit going in and out. You can see some of the confetti here.
Feliz Navidad.
All right, we'll make a left, and we'll check out stage number 2.
Go this way and then go down.
Here's the second stage. Hey, Melissa 2087. What's going on? All right, cool. We get to be right up close. Times Square 2025. Here's that Planet Fitness logo. Planet Fitness, PLNT, I believe is the ticker symbol. Right, here is one of the stages.
Yeah, I'm just getting a break my Ranger. It says 50%.
I don't know, the stages seem kind of small, right? I don't really remember last year. I think they were slightly bigger or something? I mean, it's still early for the setup, so. All right, let's go around to the other side of the stage.
Yes. Hello. How you doing that? Yeah, they have to do well. You want to shop.
This is a pretty cool shot. What do you guys think? Does it look different from last year? I feel as if this looks way different from last year. Or maybe I'm just mistaken. Well, it was kind of cool to see both stages. We saw, well, really three. The one right on just north of 42nd Street, and then the two north of 45th Street.
Hello.
You can, I don't care.
Oh, guys, look at this Cybertruck. This is a matte. Looks like a matte black Cybertruck. Damn, this thing looks awesome. What do you guys think? Thumbs up or thumbs down for this matte black Cybertruck in the audience here? I think this is probably my favorite color scheme on a Cybertruck that I've seen so far, for sure. DC322 says cyber trash. Yeah, you're not a big fan. Melissa 2087 says thumbs down. Stevens says thumbs up. Tim says thumbs up. I really like it. Matthew says nope. All right, let's head back over to 8th Avenue. Just because I think we need to avoid that buffer zone. But anyway, I think it was cool to see the Times Square setup. Kevin's Cybertruck also drives excellent in the snow. Are you speaking from experience? I have not, unfortunately, have not been in a Cybertruck. Brooklyn Joys. This looks like the Mars rover. Absolutely hilarious. Definitely does look something futuristic. What'd you guys think of that Times Square pug? That dog must have like the craziest sensory overload. Hey, Michelle K, thank you so much for your 2025 donation. Thanks so much for watching and supporting the channel this year. Appreciate it. And trust you're doing well. But thank you for your support. And thank you for your donation. All right, let me just try to scoot around here. Look at the crazy line for all these fake and stolen goods. Sometimes the NYPD will confiscate it all, but for some reason they just come right back out in full force the next day. Hey, Molly, thank you so much for the 7,500 Korean won donation. Says, hi, I am in New York City. For the ball drop, what time do you think I should begin to wait to get a great view from 43rd Street? Wow, that's so cool. Well, I'd say don't drink any water and don't eat anything for like a day because there is no place to go to the bathroom. I would get there early. I would try to get there like 9 a.m. if you want like a front row view. I would say maybe 9 a.m. or even earlier if you want to be like right in the middle of everything. If you're talking about like you want to be right up close in Times Square through all the security gates, I'd say definitely get there maybe like 9 o'clock in the morning. But thank you so much for your $7,500 Korean won. If you need any specific recommendations, just send me an email. walkswallstreet@gmail.com. But I think you'll be fine at 9 a.m., I think. Julie's, can you show us who you are? Yeah. If you just type !Thomas, THOMAS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop my bio or the About Me page. Whew, as we were kind of getting away from the crowds, you can kind of feel your blood pressure dropping a little bit. Even just being around so many people, it's so crazy. Wow, it's so foggy out tonight that you can't even see the top of Central Park Tower. That's wild. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new, because we go live every single night starting at 8:45. Now, I think what we'll probably do on New Year's Eve, everybody, I'm not going to be in Times Square doing a live stream, but I'll probably be out the entire day streaming like around the outskirts of Times Square, kind of checking out, the behind the scenes action. I don't really like kind of going right in the heart of it. I kind of like checking out all the chaos on the outskirts. So I may be out from like 1 p.m. all the way to midnight, just kind of checking things out, looking at all the security setups. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just kind of look at all like the NYPD presence. It's pretty cool. So feel free to join us. And now we're passing Din Tai Fung. Brooklyn Joyce is literally thousands of undercover cops. Well, one of you guys sent me an email today saying that the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, is now going to be deploying FDNY, so the New York City Fire Department, for New Year's Eve to patrol the subways. Did anybody see that? So Kathy Hochul is now deploying the FDNY to patrol the subways. Anybody been to Din Tai Fung? This place is pretty solid. This is 51st Street. Oh, was that a joke, or was one of you guys trolling me? I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. This is the Stardust Diner here. Brad's Brain, have a good night. I'll see you soon. Let me take you to one of my favorite steakhouses in the city. On West 52nd Street, Gallagher's Steakhouse. All right, let's make a little bit of a move around here. Anybody been to Gallagher's Steakhouse in New York? It's definitely up there with Del Frisco's, but Gallagher's is like a real original New York steakhouse. Looks like there's some sort of Broadway show getting out, or maybe The Great Gatsby. Look at that. Wow. Looks like The Great Gatsby's just getting out. 52nd Street, Broadway. But if we bang this left, we will walk right past Gallagher's. Jason says, Tom, do you know of the steakhouse Tad's on 42nd Street? I don't think so, but I know that there's like a Ted's Steakhouse. And I think that's the guy who was the founder of CNN or something like that, I believe. But this is Gallagher's. This place is awesome. You can kind of see all the steaks here. I think this is where they keep the, what's it called? The dry aged steak, I believe. Look at that. Does that not look fantastic? This is getting me hungry just looking at it. Amazing, amazing stuff. Leighton Freedom says, do you think it is possible to see the ball drop if you show up later in the afternoon? Maybe a glimpse from far away? Thank you so much for your $5 donation. Yeah, I mean, that's usually what I do. You know, if you're further down Broadway, you're not going to see the ball, but you will be able to see the fireworks, right? I mean, the thing, for me anyway, the cool thing is just being around a bunch of other New Yorkers and a bunch of other people. You know, it's not every day you have thousands of people crowding in the middle of the streets, blocking traffic, just to kind of be out on New Year's Eve. So I think if you go on Broadway, you walk as far as you can until the police stop you. You're going to be able to see the fireworks, and I think you're going to have a good time. And who knows, maybe you'll even see me, because I'll be out there. But thank you for your $5 donation. And Happy New Year to you. From the outside of Gallagher's. Here's the dining room at Gallagher's. Daily Watcher says the Oh yeah, there's probably like over $500,000 in steaks in there, you think? I think the wine room is pretty impressive too. You know, I said before, the reason why I like Del Frisco's so much is not because they have the best steak. It's not the reason why. There's actually steakhouses that have much better steaks than Del Frisco's, but the atmosphere. I think about a steakhouse, you go there more for the atmosphere, right? The fun, being around your friends and clients. If you go to the Del Frisco's, right on Avenue of the Americas near Rockefeller Center, ask them to sit upstairs. It's 2 floors. Sit upstairs and try to get a table that looks right at Radio City Music Hall. That's an awesome experience. So, take my word for it. But Gallagher's is very good too, and they have a good lunch special. It's the business lunch special. You get a soup, you get a steak, and then you get a dessert. And I believe it's only like $39 for a soup, a steak, and a dessert. It's not bad. Kyle Lacey's Del Frisco's is very good, but not classic New York City. You can get Del Frisco's in most big cities, for sure, 100%. But their dining rooms are awesome. Like Gallagher's is original, New York, awesome steakhouse. Spark Steakhouse, the same thing, very good, very classic, very New York, Italian mobsters, all that. But for some reason, that's my favorite steakhouse. But you are 100% correct. Hello Mate 2008. Yes, it's Del Frisco's and Gallagher's are nice. I mean, what would you guys say in the chat? What do you think? Doc Seven says Keen's. What's the best steakhouse you've ever been to in the United States? Or abroad? Drop it in the chat. Adam says thoughts on Bobby Vans. It's all right. There's a Bobby Vans right off of Park Avenue. I want to say 54th Street. Gene says Delmonico's. Yeah, Delmonico's is very good. WBC says Peter Luger's. I feel as if the quality of Peter Luger's has fallen off a little bit, to be honest. Kyle Lacey says love Sparks. Peter Luger's is in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. It's good, but I think it's a little overpriced now, and it's hard to get to. It's far away, and the quality has fallen off a little bit. I think they have a spot open in Vegas, too.
I'm so myself.
What about Mastro's? Anyway, on a kind of related note, did anybody see that supposedly Whole Foods steaks have very high concentration of microplastics in them? Mitch says Keen's. Keen's is very good. I was so surprised to read that. Look at this diner. This is pretty packed. Someone says, could it be caused by the cutting boards that the butchers use? Maybe. I'm kind of at the point where it's It's almost like you kind of have to give up and give in. Everything probably has microplastics in it. Everything is probably bad for you. It is what it is. All right. This is 8th Avenue looking southbound into the Port Authority. Now, I did have a really good steak in Miami at Sazon Cuban or Sazon Cubano. They have a really nice, I forget the name of the steak, but it's very, very good. And they have this side of like cilantro, like butter sauce. It's very good. It's in North Beach by the North Beach Band Shell. Ah, Professor Dario, you're correct. That's it. Very good. I think I sent you a picture of that, Professor, when I was there last. When you come to Miami, you'll have to try that place. Check the logic, says winners eat rare. I like it medium, my steak done medium. I don't like any type of raw meat. Not a fan at all, frankly put. I don't like any I think it's called tartare. I hate that stuff. I think it's disgusting. Just the thought of eating raw meat, it's like, I don't know. This is Engine 54 Ladder 4 Battalion 9 of the FDNY. I'm seeing a lot of medium rare. Alex says medium rare only. Lark. Someone says chicken tartare, delicious. I think that's a troll. I don't even know if that's a real thing. I don't think it's possible to eat raw poultry. Some people literally order the steak. I would love to kind of maybe interview like a waiter or like a waiter at Peter Luger's and ask them what's like the most disgusting order you've taken. Some people probably order it just completely rare. You know, put it on the grill for 2 seconds and they just eat it totally rare. Katie says, well, what about sushi? Nah, I mean, sushi totally is different in my opinion. I actually just had sushi yesterday. There's this good yakitori place that's right behind the Empire State Building that's open to like 2 o'clock in the morning. After the live stream, I sometimes go there with friends. It's a really, really good spot.
I was wondering if I should...
I wish I knew the name. I'd recommend it to you, but you could just type in Japanese food. If you go on Google Maps, it's right behind the Empire State Building. It's a great place. Glass House Tavern. NBA Elias, Tom, did you have Korean barbecue while you were in Seoul? I did. I think my favorite thing I ate when I was in Korea was this eel. So think about traditional Korean barbecue where you barbecue the food yourself. But it was this specific eel, and it was like the best thing I've ever had. It was so good. I didn't think I was gonna like it at first. Like when they took me to the restaurant, I looked at it and I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to eat this. I like felt so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so insulting. Like I'm gonna sit there and not be able to eat anything. But it was amazing. Dee's is sorry can't do sushi. Oh man, I think you're missing out. I think you're missing out a little bit. This is Hotel Edison. Emmanuel's alligator was amazing. I've never had it. Never had it. KM Ramsey says I'm not eating anything raw but veggies. For sure, for sure. Mark Francis says, "Come on, alligator isn't good. I've had it. I haven't had it, but the Florida boys sometimes they eat that stuff, right?" All right, we'll do one more pass at the stage, and then we'll blow this thing out. Malibu Rocky Oaks. This is alligator, too rubbery. A lot of people say it tastes like chicken, but I don't know. I wonder how many Planet Fitness signups they have after New Year's Eve. Planet Fitness, I think, actually just hit a new record high. You know, it got clobbered during the pandemic, ticker symbol PLNT. And they've managed to claw their way back. Let's check out that main stage one more time. I'm curious. Look at those speakers up there. All right, let's head down here and then out. I don't think I'm gonna get through there. Yeah, Western Mass Dave says I think the warm weather is bringing people out. I think it's 50 degrees. Maybe like 48. I think on New Year's Eve it's actually going to be pretty warm. We'll see. I'm just trying to find the best way to cross back over to the east side. At least try to. I think I'll be able to make it through this side. How much revenue do you think these Times Square cart guys do on a day like this? I think they probably do pretty good. Maybe like a few $1,000, right? You can see all these pods up and down. There's some more. My favorite halal place is actually not too far away from here. It's Adele's Famous. Very good. I even think these fruit and churro vendors probably bring in a few grand. I'm talking about like on a busy night like this, near New Year's Eve. I've actually bought one of the fruit cups once. This was this summer I actually bought one, which is surprising. I never buy anything from the food vendor people. All right, here's some more of the audio-visual stuff. Daniel J, what's going on? All right, let's exit stage right. Talk about a little bit of a sensory overload, but you know, it's once a year. I mean, there's so many people in the city, it's insane. It makes me think about like what the total revenue is for like all transactions in New York City, just in Manhattan today, between the hotels, between the bars, the restaurants. I mean, the museums. Just kind of, you know, if you take a step back, makes you realize just what an economic powerhouse the city of New York is. It's pretty incredible. I mean, you can't go to any other city in America and see the tourist activity like you do in New York. I mean, it's just no way. I really think it's due to the walkability, to be honest, and the public transit. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new. We do these streams every day, starting at 8:45. Usually cover the financial markets, but it is the holidays. So we are checking out New York City. You know, I got to go back to the office, so might as well take you guys with me. I think we have enough battery life, so maybe we'll check out the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree one more time because it will be coming down sooner rather than later. Ooh, and you can see Steinway Tower, the skinniest residential apartment building in the world, right there on Billionaires Row.
Hey, yo!
This is my old office right here, Marsh McLennan. We're about to pass the News Corporation building, which is Fox News. Also, Wall Street Journal, the Investors Business Daily, and Barron's. You know, it's a Sunday night, but it really doesn't feel like Sunday night. It kind of feels like a Friday night. How many of you are working tomorrow, or is anybody here just took off the entire holiday extended week throughout New Year's Eve and the like? Professor, you're working. Copy that. NBA Elias, you're working too. Respect. Allen says you go back on the 2nd. Very cool. Dave says I'm retired, so there. Daniel J says I am, but don't feel like going to work. It's going to be strange to be back in the office. Yeah, it's always those first 2 days back. It's like a little bit of a drag. But then once you're back, it's like, you know, you're back and you get right back into the swing of things. This is now New York City's Diamond District, West 47th Street. Reggie 44 is retired, just working on the portfolio. Love that. The Christmas tree at News Corp is beautiful this year as well. Now, I know I've said this before, but I really do think they should close down Broadway 2 days leading up to New Year's Eve. There's just no need for cars to be going through there. There's just too many tourists. It's a little bit too dangerous. They should just make it like open streets, kind of like they do in the summer, like the New York City open summer streets, where it's closed down to vehicles and everybody can just walk. So if you're thinking about long lines, check out this long line. This is for Adele's Famous. This is probably over a 3-hour wait, to be honest. It is good halal food, but I don't know if I could wait in this line for 3 hours. We'll walk the line right now. Just keeps going. Keeps going, keeps going. And many of the people that are in line order multiple plates. Keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. Almost done. And there you go. The front of the line. But I think they had an additional one open. These guys are the best. I think this is, hello. I think this is for the Uber, like pickup. But yeah, if anybody likes halal food, this is the best halal food in the city. I don't get a chance to go here a lot anymore. Mainly because I don't have time to wait on the line. That's really the only reason. The line takes up the entire block. Wow, and even more tourists over here. This is probably 100% going to be the most touristed or traveled holiday season in New York. That is for sure. This is a pretty cool shot of 53 West 53rd Street. This is one of the buildings on New York City's Billionaires Row. Hey, New England Crypto, what's going on? Wishing you and your family a blessed 2025 as we are here at the last final days of the year. Wow, look at all the police officers here. Hey.
I love listening to you. I'm from Georgia. Got to go back tomorrow.
Oh, nice to meet you, George.
She lives here in Loretta.
Oh, George, nice to meet you. How are you?
Georgia. My name's
George, what's going
He
on?
messages you all the time.
Oh, thank you so much.
I've been watching for months before, and we've been here all week.
Oh, thank you so much. When are you guys going back?
we're gonna get a picture.
I'm going back in the morning.
Oh, I think you got a truck behind you.
Staying at Manhattan.
Oh, nice. You
We
staying
went
in
there
Manhattan?
last night.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Yes, get on the sidewalk. I think there's a truck coming.
She lives here. We came to visit her.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, Wheeler was my wife's middle name, and I've been watching for months, seeing
Very
this.
cool. Awesome. Yeah. It's a pleasure to meet you. Sure. Yeah. Still. Oh, that's so funny when you follow me on there. That's awesome.
We miss you.
Yeah. No worries.
Can I take a picture with you?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. I'm sorry I bothered you.
No, not at all. Not bothering me at all. And what was your name again?
Bill.
Bill, nice to meet you, Bill.
I got a store in Georgia.
Oh, cool.
Collectible shop.
Yeah, sure. We'll stand this way. Whatever you want.
We were watching the Falcons and we gave it away.
Oh, man.
My brother won't believe it.
Mom, it said
Yeah, pleasure to meet you guys.
told me about this.
Back in the car.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'll check you guys out.
You taught me so much about this town and what the
Awesome, yeah.
We went Blue Man Group. We went to
Oh, wow.
Islanders game.
Oh, nice.
They won 6-3.
So where were the Islanders playing?
USB.
Oh,
How about
UBS.
Belmont?
Oh, okay, got it. Nice.
Went to O'Mary.
Yeah,
And there you got
Very
autographs
cool.
on the playfield.
very cool. It was a pleasure meeting you guys. Yeah, pleasure again.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Watching.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Those are nice people. I feel so bad they were following me around. I couldn't hear. I have like two hoods up. Because it's windy, so I have both of my hoodies up. But thanks everybody for watching. I appreciate it. All right, we'll take a look at the Rockefeller Center tree, and then we will head out. Lots of NYPD out. They even got the white shirts out tonight. Western Mass Dave's 2 hoodies while it's 50 degrees. Well, the thing is it's windy, and when you're out in it for like over 2 hours, it does get cold. So. This is the entrance to the observation deck. The Rainbow Room. And this is 30 Rockefeller Center. Hey, iPadilla, what's up? So I think I probably won't be in Times Square streaming, but we'll be walking around checking out kind of like the behind the scenes, the security setup. I'll definitely be out and about in it though, that's for sure. Thanks again for your gift you got me to the office. So, if you want to see how windy it is out, you just look at those flags. Crazy wind. I gotta put you down for a second. A little bit of rat camera action. I know, Western Mass Dave's is another New Year's with Walks on Wall Street. Your third or your fourth. I think it's been maybe 3 years now, which is pretty wild. Time goes by fast. New Year's Eve is always a good time. There's always crazy stuff happening in this wild city. I definitely wouldn't want to be anywhere else on New Year's Eve than New York City for sure. All right, now we're back on Fifth Avenue by the one and only St. Patrick's. I'm gonna miss the city with all the holiday stuff, Christmas lights. Because after New Year's and the Christmas lights start to come down, then it's like New York City gets hit with the deep freeze. And it's just dark and cold. Yikes, Alan says there's very cold weather coming the second week of January. I think I may be in South Florida second week of January. So it looks like good timing. Hey, what's up, Natalie? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, Anne, I think that is that new, the old Versace store is now that new Kim Kardashian store. Skims or Skins or something like that. There's always a big line during the day. You are correct. It's right here, next to the Cartier. We're now walking up Fifth Avenue. Sunshine After Rain says it's called Skims, S-K-I-M-S. The other day, there was a crazy line out there. Wow, this is a good shot of 432 Park Avenue and the new Mandarin Oriental Residences on 5th. Of course, we're right across the street from the University Club in New York. 87 says, I really like your videos. Thanks so much. Appreciate you watching. I'm glad you enjoyed the streams. This is St. Thomas Church here. Oh wow, Joe says hello my friend and happy holidays, was just there tonight. Nice. Hope you enjoyed the good weather we're having. And fingers crossed, please God, hopefully we will not have any rain on New Year's Eve, please God. So this is the University Club. This is one of my favorite buildings in New York. Just amazing architecture here. Everything is really fantastic. And you can see the Christmas tree in there. The other day we looked right in and you could see the wood-burning fireplace on. I don't think it's on today, but try to get you close to some of the detail here. And then this is 53 West 53rd Street. Yeah, Professor Dario says, what a building. I was just reading the dress code today. Yeah, it's a very, very exclusive club in New York. You can kind of see a little bit of the inside here. Jonathan Richards, what's up? Merry Christmas to you too, and happy 2025. This is the Peninsula and the St. Regis. Both. Since we're here, we might as well check out the Polo Club. St. Regis is really, really nice. And here we have the Polo Bar. Anybody here been to the Polo Bar? Try to get you up and over the barrier there, but it is very beautiful inside. How's it looking up there? I didn't get to try to get you guys up and over the barrier thing. This is a really nice Crockett Jones. Get a nice pair of deal sleds, loafers. All right, everybody. Well, that was fun. I think we covered a lot of ground tonight. Oh man, it's almost 3 hours. Pretty late stream tonight. Well, if you enjoyed the stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new. Just as a quick reminder, we will be sending out our investor letter for the 2025 Outlook this week. So if you want to subscribe to our Substack for free, we send it out on a bi-weekly cadence. We cover everything from U.S. equities, global macro, and more. You can scan the QR code on your screen, punch in your email, and you will sign up for the Behind the Street newsletter. But until then, we'll see you tomorrow, 8:45. Take care. Alan, appreciate it. Western Mass Dave. Jonathan Richards, New England Crypto, appreciate you as always. Jason, all of our moderators. TD, Nina, Mars Tech, Mike G, Mohammed. We'll see you all right back here tomorrow at 8:45. Take care.